I am so delighted to see you all this morning, the second day of the Scandal in Real Time National Conference. I have a couple of orders of business, and then we're going to get started right away. According to my clock, we are at 8:38, so we're about 3 minutes behind where I hope to start today. That is okay. This morning, as I've done each time we've opened, I wanted to make sure to thank everyone who participated as a co-sponsor, and so I will do that again. I'm going to read off the long list of names because it's just appropriate to do, and you can't move forward without actually thanking people for all the work that's been done thus far. So I'll take a couple of minutes. In terms of another business concern, Molly Collins. Molly, can you just... everybody knows who Molly is, but can you all please just have a look at her there? Right now, she is stationed on the floor, getting set up for the next part of the program. But something that Molly has is a piece of paperwork that we need from you all, for a signature page. She has it for most people. Some of you have already turned it back in already, but she has a couple of them. And so, Molly, you probably have about 5 more left, maybe, or about 7 more. So she'll be coming to you and asking you for your signature. All right, so special thanks go to Nahum Chandler, Jasmine Robledo, Rena Carvalho, and let me stop here. If you're one of the student volunteers on this program, can you just put your hand up if you're one of the student volunteers? Thank you very much. Thank you. You represent all the students. There's been like 25 students who have been driving and doing all kinds of stuff for us. Casey Ning, LaShonda Carter, Paul Pham, Netta Moayedi, Molly Collins, Armand Demerchian, the University of California Consortium for Black Studies in California, the Second Century Fund, American Political Science Association Centennial Center for Political Science and Public Affairs, the University of California Office of the President, Vice Provost for Diversity and Engagement, the Department of Women's and Gender Studies at Rutgers University, Mississippi State Valley University. Oh my goodness, thank you. Mississippi Valley State University, corrected. Dr. Francine Wilson, Dr. Nicole Alexander Floyd, Dr. Kathy Strohmile Golden, Tamara Austin, Julia Lupton, Amanda Swain, the ex-Black Women Daily Organization, the UCI Black Student Union, the National Conference of Black Political Scientists, the UCLA African Studies Center and International Institute, UCI School of Humanities, School of Social Sciences, Graduate Division, School of Social Ecology, School of Education, School of Law, School of Nursing, School of Medicine, School of the Arts, the Associate Dean of the School of Law, the School of Nursing, the School of Medicine, the School of the Arts, I'm repeating myself, the Director of Public Health, the UCI Library's 50th Anniversary Project Historian, the Archivist for the Southeast Asian Archive and Regional History, the Office of Equal Opportunity and Diversity, the Office of the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, the Women's Caucus for Political Science and American Political Science Association Caucus, the New Narratives Initiative, the International Excellence Programs, the Office of Undergraduate Research Opportunities, the Career Center, the Cross-Cultural Center, Humanities Commons, Vice Provost for Academic Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, the African American Student Experience Work Group, Associated Students, UCI, Anteater TV, Humanities Research Institute, the Center for the Study of Democracy, the Departments of Political Science, Gender and Sexuality Studies, Criminology, Law and Society, History, African American Studies, Culture and Theory, English, Political Science, Illuminations, the Chancellor's Arts and Culture Initiative, the Cross-Cultural Center, and the following persons: Selena Cardenas, Michaela Maciel, Elias Santos, Mercy Maradiaga, Bryant Parker, Shane Almanasi, Louis Brent, Ashley Jackett, Alyssa Makaraeg, Tatiana Walton, Kayla Boyden, Ashley Montgomery, Shantice Laurent, Rachel Lane, Stephanie Perlman, Lynette Banag-Murillo, Carmen Vickers, Sandra Johnson, Cheryl Flores, and many, many, many others whose research work You have no idea how many students did just hours and hours of research work to prepare the student oral historians so that they would be able to do interviews with you all yesterday that would be really substantive. So just people have really showed up. And every one of those offices that I listed, every single one of them could be doing a lot more in terms of addressing the particular vulnerabilities and issues and needs that Black women and Black men and Black persons on this campus, Black genderqueer people on this campus, Black disabled persons on this campus, Black undocumented people on this campus need to have addressed. Every single one of those offices could be doing more. So feel free to write them and tell them the things that you think they could be doing more. I believe in problem solving, not wishing or hoping. You can provide more information. All of these people's research, determination, and wisdom is deeply valued and truly appreciated. I can't move forward without asking you all to really join me in thanking my research assistants, my graduate student researchers, Molly Collins and LaShonda Carter. These two persons are the Culture and Theory Doctoral Program cohort of fall 2015. They have done an enormous amount of labor. Really in some ways you could think their whole first year of doctoral program has been organizing this conference. When you see them today, the rest of the day, please give them a hug. Please just let them know how much this experience has meant to you, because a heart is not enough. You also have to have really, really smart people, really smart people who have very competent hands and skills who can do to manifest a thing. And that is, these are brilliant young people. They are brilliant young people. I feel like I can retire now, Bridget, No, the work is never done. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the program for the morning very quickly, and then I'm going to get out of the way and let them commence. So today we are going to have this wonderful musicologist, Victoria Burnett. Through her upbringing, Victoria realized that music and story were equally powerful tools of communication. She blends her skills as a teacher, librarian, singer, and performer to become what she calls a story musicologist. While honing these gifts, Victoria earned a Bachelor of Arts in Voice and a Bachelor of Science in Education from the University of Maryland, College Park. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Victoria Burnett.
There once was a little girl who thought she had ordinary hands. But it was said that she had a special way with animals. They listened to her and they obeyed her. And it was said that she also had a special way of healing. Her touch was healing. Just to rub someone seemed to make them feel better. But more than that, it was said that she had a special way of speaking the truth so that people would listen and receive the love that she had for them. But this didn't matter, because she didn't think she was very special at all. She said, I can't dance like my sister, I can't sing like my brother, I can't fix things like my father, and I'm not good at baking or cooking like my mom. And on top of all of this, I'm not cute. Well, the chief of her village came one day and he said, people, we shall have a feast in honor of the oldest woman in our village. She will be turning almost 100 years old. Actually, 100 years old. And she's going blind. I want her to feel how much you appreciate her wisdom. I want her to know that she's important in our community. Oh, she knows it, but she might not be able to see it as well as she used to. I want you to go off and make something for her. Well, everyone was thinking about what they were going to do. I do not want you to buy. I want you to make, or I want you to do something for her. Everyone was excited. And there was a woman in the crowd who said, I will write a poem for her. Would you say that?
I will write a poem for her.
And everyone said, Ashe, Ashe!
Ashe, Ashe!
Because they were in agreement. And another woman said, I will braid her hair for a whole month.
I will braid her hair for a whole month.
And everyone threw their arms up and said, what?
Ashe, Ashe!
And there was a man in the back with glasses, and he knew exactly how to fix her broken porch. And he said, I'm going to fix her porch.
I'm going to fix her
Porch.
porch.
I brought this out. That's all right. That's all right. And everybody still threw up hands and said,
Ashe, Ashe!
well, they were all talking about what they were going to do, and they were so excited. Her mom said, oh, I'm going to bake her some cookies.
I'm going to bake her some cookies.
Everybody said,
Ashe, Ashe!
they were so excited. And that little one, she stood off in the corner and she thought, I can't do any of those things. She felt awful about herself. She didn't feel like she fit anywhere. So she went to her favorite place, which was down by the riverside. And she sat down, and as she sat there, she meditated. And she looked out over the river, and it was beautiful. Why, the stars weren't out yet. But it seemed as if the stars had leaped into that river. The sparkle of the sun was gorgeous, and she sat there and she rocked a while. And it seemed as if she started to hear singing. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. Do that with me. Hold out your hands. Open up your heart. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. Now, this is a shortcut of sign language, but I won't tell you that. Anyway, here we go. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. Ooh, she knows this. Come on up. Right here, right here, right here, right here. I'm sorry. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. These are going, it's almost like, what's her name? Yeah, what's her name? Used to say, I can't think of, she had a backup pips. Okay, not like Gladys. So Victoria and the pipettes. All right, you are, whenever I need you, whenever we're going to sing, I want you to step up and do this with me. Everyone help them, encourage them. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. As it dances on the water. Dances is 2 fingers swept this way. Dances on the water. Very good. You see, this is a W. Tap the bottom lip. Water. From the beginning. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. And then you step back. Well, that's what she heard when she was down by the river. She was there, and oh my goodness, she could not believe how wonderful it was to be there. And she listened as the water rippled and sang to her. And the water seemed to be singing to her again, the river. Here we go, everyone. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. Oh, it was wonderful. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, it was nighttime. She had stayed in the river all day. She jumped up and she ran all the way home. And she kept that song in her heart. And when she got home, she fell into a deep, deep sleep. And that river sang to her again. All right, here we go. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. She had such a wonderful sleep. Such a wonderful sleep. She woke up refreshed and she was ready for school. And she felt good about herself. And she went into the kitchen. Her mom was baking all sorts of things. And her sister was practicing her moves. Her dad, he was out in the back building something for that old blind woman. And then her sister and she rushed off to school. They had a wonderful time at school, and there were times that the questions that were asked, she could actually answer. She raised her hand, and she was so proud. At the end of the day, as she was going home, she heard the sound of the shakeroo. And that's when she remembered, oh no, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about anything to give to the old blind woman, the elder of our village, the mother of our village. Oh, she watched as everyone else ran to get the things they had done overnight. And she went back to her favorite place. She felt bad about herself. She spoke not encouraging words. I'm not special. I don't know how to do much. And as she sat there, that river sang to her again. Hold out your hands, child. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as it dances on the water. And that river spoke and said, little one, take the gifts that the river has to give. Take this water, for I have anointed it for you to use today. Take this, put it in an earthen vessel, and refresh the old mother with it. Well, that little one said, huh? I said, put your hands in the river. So she put her hands in the river. I said she put her hands in the river. And she got the water and she poured it into an earthen vessel. And she put the top on really tight. She ran all the way home. And she ran past her home to that hut where that mother lived. And she heard all of the rejoicing and the dancing and the singing. And she started not to go in. And finally, she had enough courage. She came in and she said, "Excuse me. Excuse me. I did not make this, but I give it to you with all my love and respect." And she gave it to that old blind woman. And that woman took it and she felt it and she said, "Oh, I sense this was given with all your love and respect, so thank you, thank you." And that blind woman took the top off, and as soon as it was released from the vessel, out poured all of the joy and the love that that girl had for her. The room was full of light, and people in the room jumped like some of you did. And they were looking around, and that old blind woman was, oh. And when she opened her eyes, she could see. She could see. She took the water and she poured it into her hands and she bathed her face in it. She drank some of it. And she looked around and she looked for that little one and she said, little one, from this day forward, you will be known as a healer. For your faith has restored my sight. Now, we've forgotten that we all have gifts that you don't count as anything. There's a gift of hospitality. There's a gift of being able to speak truth with boldness. There's a gift of honoring others and making them feel comfortable just with your smile, just with your presence. There's a wonderful gift that is given that always produces a smile. There's the gifts that we give of saying please and thank you. There's a gift, if we mess up badly, that we can say that just involves 3 words. I'm so sorry. There's a powerful gift that we need to give each other all the time. And that is, I love you. Today, as you go out into your communities, as you're sitting here, don't sit separately. Give that gift away with your eyes. I see it in yours. Thank you. Give that gift away whenever you can. And those who don't honor you by giving it back, give grace. Give mercy. And keep on standing. Open up your heart, child. Watch the sparkling lights, child, as they dance on the water. Do you believe in love? And that was just the beginning of the healing hands. closing that I tell you or that I share with you, that story, thank you so much, thank you. All of the stories that you share, if you choose to share any of the stories that I've shared with you, and I have some CDs if you want to take some home, but if you choose to share some of the stories, as storytellers, what we're trying to do, especially within the National Association of Black Storytellers, go online, look that up. What we try and do is to remember to honor your ancestors, honor the folk who told you that story. The story that I'm telling you was told to me by Charlotte Blake Alston, dear friend of mine who was a storyteller for Carnegie Hall. And she told it to me, but the research that she did and I did afterwards, it originally comes again from Ghana. And it's from a story that's originally called The River That Gave Gifts. Charlotte gave me permission to share this story with you today. In your communities, in your life, if there's a story that comes from your own family, even the ones that are difficult to tell, please honor your family by, if you can, asking them if they can tell the story. And try to abide by that. Don't release a story that is so personal. And if you do, change the names. Or make it about an animal. All right? I thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions about storytelling and about how we can use those to make change in the world, I'm a living witness. Stories have taken me all over the world. And people will listen to a story that is infused with truth when they will not accept the truth. A story is always, truth is always best clothed in a wonderful story. Thank you so much.
All right. So I'm watching the clock. I'm very attentive to time. I want to introduce my colleagues on the campus here at UC Irvine. Dr. Bridget Cooks, who is the Associate Professor and Chair in the African American Studies Department in the Department of Art History, and the Graduate Program in Visual Studies and Culture and Theory. Hafsa, where are you? Make sure you talk to Dr. Cooks before you leave here, please. Yeah. Also, I want to introduce you to my other colleague, Dr. Tesha Sengupta Irving in the School of Education, Assistant Professor here at UCI. And please join me in welcoming them. They are going to offer welcomes to you from the campus. You can stay there or here, it's up to you. Okay, that's fine.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's such an honor to see all of you, and I really mean see all of you. At Irvine, there are not very many Black women, and I know them all, so it's wonderful to walk in, and it's like a surreal experience. So thank you so much for being here. It changes the campus when we get together and are able to just validate each other's presence. So quickly, I just want to thank, of course, Dr. Tiffany Willoughby Herrard for making all of this possible. One of her many gifts is mentorship to students and modeling professionalism and generosity of spirit to her students and colleagues. So I'm very honored to be her colleague in African American Studies. And thank you to two of her mentees, Molly Collins, of course, and LaShonda Carter. There has also been staff behind the scenes, Jasmine Robledo and Rena Carvalho, who have been really supportive in getting all of you here. And I just want to say just a little bit about how important it is to learn how to do oral histories, learn how to share your stories, to be honest, be real, and inspire other people. Intergenerational situations are also at play in what happens here, and that's something that we take for granted. How important it is, something I want us to think about, just to be able to acknowledge each other, to validate each other, to recognize the kind of labor that we do, and to be able to leave a record and document all of the stories and ways that we've been able to survive. So I'm looking forward to seeing you throughout the day and tonight at the very fancy Black Gala. I will be there. That happens once a year, and so we always look forward to it. So thank you all for coming from all kinds of places around the country to be here. We really appreciate you being here at UCI.
Now, Dr. Sengupta Irving is going to do something. She's going to do a charge to us. She's going to allow us to see the next generation that is manifesting itself, this whole process. There's a page in the program that lists a whole lot of people's names. These people are taking up space, and they're claiming the work that's been done already to do more. And I wanted to make sure that she spoke directly to them. So she's going to do a charge to the next generation. Go ahead, Dr. Irving.
Yeah, all right. I too am incredibly honored and humbled to be in this space with you all. It is such a gift that Tiffany has offered me, and of course, LaShonda and Molly, to be here today. It's an immense challenge to offer a charge, especially as an assistant professor. And until Tiffany said to the next generation, I hadn't realized that I'm not part of the next generation, or I wasn't sure if I was. I thought I was still relevant. I'm not sure. But what I appreciate about how Tiffany just opened this is that she said to us as the next generation. So this is an inclusive us, age independent, position independent, status independent in terms of, well, anyways. So let me begin by saying I am a social scientist, and my work centers on the education of our children in American public schools. That means most of my day is spent listening to our children and to their teachers and trying to understand their experiences as the next, or perhaps next generation. I come to this work in the white institutional space we call the academy, propelled by a cacophony of voices from my former life as a mathematics teacher working with incarcerated youth and adults, and with black and brown children in the working class, working poor community of Compton, just 45 minutes away. These are the voices of teachers and administrators, but more importantly of mothers, grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, all of who know America has never delivered on the promise of public education for their children. This promise would put our children above all other interests. In my own work, I seek to design learning environments in which children are encouraged to engage in complex mathematical thinking, to work in solidarity with their peers on problems of consequence to their communities, and to find joy in learning. Joy, a word that has been erased from the vernacular of American public schools as the regime of accountability takes hold and deploys every day against our children weapons of mass destruction that we politely call standardized testing, tracking, a standardized curriculum. These forces are systematically deadening our most creative and progressive teachers, and by measuring, sorting, and pitting our children against each other, decimating community in our classrooms. When we are concerned only with how a child can be assessed as a score and in relation to other scores, as those who rain neoliberal school and educational policy down upon us, we relinquish the possibility of a decolonizing education. So today, I am asked to charge the next generation. Instead, I offer a question. How will the next generation reclaim public education for Black children? All right. I cannot answer this, but I argue that it deserves an answer from each and every one of us in this room. If I were to ask Bell Hooks, for example, I argue she would say we cannot reclaim public education without a theory that is inherently healing. indeed what our children experience through racial microaggressions from their teachers or their peers, or from a curriculum that asserts the supremacy of Western white thought, requires nothing short of healing in the next generation. So, to the next generation, you must ask yourself if you are being educated in the theories that will ultimately mobilize, emancipate, and heal the minds and bodies of our children in schools. And if you're not sure, ask yourself this: does the theory presume, rather than render problematic, the black body? If I ask my fellow critical scholars in education how we might reclaim public education for our children, they would say we must center our work out of school and in the lives of black children and their families. There we will find the precious resources, if leveraged, that will let loose the reality of black excellence in our schools. So to the next generation, you must ask yourself if you are being educated in the methodologies of inquiry that would, for example, presume that the child's family is a resource for teaching and learning and not, as is so often argued, a barrier to their progress. If I were to ask the incarcerated youth and adults who raised me as a teacher, I would hear in some of them stories of resistance and hope that was passed on by someone who once combed their hair, oiled their skin, or told the story of a scar on their face. Indeed, as the elite write checks at cocktail parties and fundraisers and applaud themselves for doing their civic duty for education, we are at home nursing the wounds, polishing the armor, and steadying our children with love for the next day. For me, reforming public education isn't about civic duty. It is a moral imperative. I ask the next generation, how will we reclaim public education for black children? We know from history not to look to philanthropists or politicians. Justice will rise up through our community as it so often has before. So look about the room and ask ourselves, what forms of creative insubordination did you engage in to get here? And how have we received the power and grown ourselves and healed so that we may pay it forward in growing and healing our children? To the next generation, my charge is this: deliver on the promise of public education as a system that honors our children so that they may be awash every single day in learning, love, and joy. Thank you.
So if I could just take a little bit of time to speak to some of the brilliance that Elder Griot, Victoria Burnett may have saw in Mzilikazi today. Happy birthday. So if we can all just share in the joy of Mzilikazi's birthday today and sing a thunderous and loud and joyous and jubilant happy birthday to Mzilikazi. I can't lead it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I want to thank so much my incredible and lovely and amazing and hard-working and brilliant colleagues, Dr. Bridget Cooks and Dr. Tesha Sengupta Irving. Thank you very much.